The hacker group known as Red Alpha has been linked to the Chinese Communist Party. This group has been hacking human rights organizations, think tanks, and government agencies around the world for 3 years. Petitioners and activists who disagree with the CCP can be locked into psychiatric hospitals and drugged. A new report exposed the torturous method China uses on its dissidents. An auto parade in Germany commemorates the 400 million people that have quit the CCP. Finally, Chinese troops will participate in Russian military exercises. The US is watching China-Russia relations carefully as the two get closer. Let's get into it. Welcome to Sound of Hope News. My name is Daniela Wolensack, and today is August 19th. A group of hackers linked to the Chinese Communist government has been conducting cyber attacks against human rights organizations, think tanks, news media, and multinational government agencies around the world for the past 3 years. Massachusetts-based cybersecurity firm Recorded Future broke the story in a newly released report. The hacker group, known as Red Alpha, has targeted Amnesty International, the International Federation for Human Rights, Radio Free Asia, the Mercator Institute for China Studies, and other groups. One attack registered domain names impersonating the target organizations and using fake login pages to conduct phishing attacks to steal login credentials such as usernames and passwords. The report concluded that the hacker group was likely a private contractor employed by the Chinese Communist government, as the target of the attack was aligned with the strategic interests of the Chinese Communist Party. According to the Voice of America, the Citizen Lab at the University of Toronto in Canada uncovered operations against the Tibetan community in 2018. The hacking group has been particularly interested in Taiwanese organizations over the past few years, with the American Institute in Taiwan, the Democratic Progressive Party of Taiwan, the National Defense Security Research Institute, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs among its targets. General Yu Cheng-hee, former dean of the School of Political Warfare at the National Defense University of Taiwan, told Sound of Hope that since Taiwan and the international community have taken precautions, the price the Chinese Communist Party must pay to reunite Taiwan is becoming greater and greater. China's human rights record has always been contentious. Many human rights defenders condemn the treatment of those who disagree with the Chinese Communist Party. Drugged and Detained, China's Psychiatric Prisons is a new report by Safeguard Defenders, released on Tuesday. It exposes how Chinese police and government agents are sending petitioners and activists to psychiatric wards. Once there, prisoners receive medically unnecessary compulsory treatment, where some languish for years. One torturous CCP tactic is to declare them mentally ill. This tactic has at least 2 decades of history. In August of 2002, an article by The Guardian reported that Chinese dissidents have been labeled political maniacs and locked up in mental hospitals, simply for opposing the government. It highlights a report stating that the CCP's crackdown on the spiritual practice Falun Gong has led many members who refuse to renounce their beliefs to be judged as insane. The report was published by US-based Human Rights Watch and the Geneva Initiative on Psychiatry. In 2018, Dong Qiongyao, a woman from China's Hunan province, live-streamed a protest where she denounced the CCP and splashed ink on a portrait of Chinese President Xi Jinping. She was then sent for treatment at a mental hospital. When Dong was released after 4 months, her father, Dong Jianbiao, said that when he saw her, she was a completely different person. Dong's torso was bloated, her face was puffy, she barely talked, and said nothing about her ordeal. In 2020, she was sent back into the psychiatric hospital for 2 months. Her family reported that her condition was even worse upon release. Her father told Voice of America, "I wanted to take a photo of her with my phone, but she was scared and wouldn't let me." He added, her mom said she talks nonsense at home and cries and screams a lot. Her condition is suspected to be a side effect of drugs she was given during her hospitalization. Dong's father maintains that his daughter is free from the mental illness the CCP claims she had. There are many cases like this. After President Xi took office, the CCP has cracked down harder on dissidents. A researcher for human rights nonprofit organization Safeguard Defenders, Dina Gardner, stated that she believed there were thousands of human rights activists in psychiatric hospitals in China between 2015 and 2021. Recently, a convoy of 27 vehicles traveled around Frankfurt, Germany. They spread awareness of the movement to quit the Chinese Communist Party and its affiliates. So far, over 400 million Chinese people have quit the CCP. The convoy detailed the crimes of the CCP, including the brutal persecution of prisoners of conscience. They invited onlookers to sign petitions decrying the actions of the CCP. Participants came from different cities in Germany, Switzerland, and the Czech Republic. Team member Schlegel said, "Ending the CCP is to build a better world. So far, more than 400 million people worldwide have quit the organization, but it is not enough. Therefore, we hope that through this car tour, more Chinese people can be awakened and find the courage to quit the CCP." Annette from Zurich, Switzerland, said their team had paraded in Munich 3 times, once around Lake Constance, twice in Berlin, and 3 times in Zurich. She told reporters the CCP counters traditional culture, promotes atheism, and destroys the universal values of truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance. End the CCP, and the world will be a better place. China's Defense Ministry announced that Chinese troops will participate in Russia's Vostok military joint exercises. This was on August 17th. India, Belarus, Tajikistan, Mongolia, and a few other countries are also participating. The statement pointed out that China's participation has nothing to do with current international and regional situations. Nonetheless, the US is now closely watching the relationship between China and Russia. According to the Russian Ministry of Defense, the Vostok strategic exercise will be held from August 30th to September 5th. So far, only limited details of the exercises are available. Beijing indicated that its participation is based on the annual cooperation plan between both countries' militaries. Reuters reported that Russian President Vladimir Putin has been trying to win over Beijing as Russia's confrontation with the West intensifies. Therefore, the CCP's participation in the exercises this year should provide the outside world with important clues about Sino-Russian relations. Strategic intelligence expert Rebecca Koffler provided some analysis for Fox News. While it is still in fierce military conflict with Ukraine, Russia's insistence on conducting military exercises is notable. The exercise also provided China an opportunity to assume a military challenging attitude toward the US under the current increasing tensions between the United States and China over the Taiwan issue. Thank you so much for listening to Sound of Hope News. If you like what you saw, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next week.